I can't believe I'm making a video about iPhones, but here we are. 2026 has been an insane year for cameras, so it's kind of weird that I'm making this type of video. I'm genuinely making a YouTube video at 1:30 in the morning about how I think my iPhone 17 Pro could replace a couple of my cinema cameras. Kind of. So for context, I actually made an iPhone 17 Pro cinematic video when it came out, and I got it in September of last year, but it never saw the light of day because I got lazy, maybe uninspired. I tend to do that, but I'm back. So quick shout out to those who have stayed subscribed to this channel, and a quick shout out to those who are new to the channel. But let's jump into the main subject of this video, and it's about how I use my iPhone 17 Pro as a pro cinema camera for the last 10 months. I'm very aware that's a very clickbaity type of sentence and probably title I'm going to use, but I generally want to go through all the reasons why I've chosen my iPhone over some of my cinema cameras in certain scenarios. Now that I've had the phone for 10 months and I've been shooting constantly, I think I can give an honest review on it and not just make a video because, oh, I got the new iPhone, let me show you all the cool new gadgets. I've actually used this for, 10 months. I really can't tell you what compelled me to make this video because it truly is 1:30 in the morning where I'm from, and I could not go to sleep until I got this out. Maybe it's my ADHD, or maybe it's just because I've been sitting on all this footage for so long that I just needed it out there, because I'm one of those people that will sit on footage and never show anybody because I think it's mine. When in reality, I would love to share more of what I do on this platform and on other socials, but that's a whole different conversation that we're not going to get into. In this video, I will talk about everything I use to get the most out of my iPhone, which is the app I use, the gear I use, and the settings. I'll briefly touch on them, but in reality, again, this is just to showcase the footage I've gotten over the last 10 months and why I think it belonged in my camera bag over some of my other cameras. With the introduction of the iPhone 17 Pro came a lot of upgrades to the camera. Not only did we get a new Apple log, which is amazing to grade, we also got ProRes RAW with an external recorder, and one of my favorite things to come out of this iPhone is OpenGate. But I'm also going to talk about why they kind of ruined OpenGate later on. It's crazy what you can do with iPhones now. Like ProRes RAW on an iPhone, I thought would never happen, but it's here. It's been used for the past 10 months, and it's giving me a lot of flexibility in post to the point where I've sometimes even snuck in a couple iPhone shots with other professional work I've done, which is, I again never thought I'd be able to do. And no, I'm not saying that the iPhone 17 Pro is on the same level as like my FX3 or FX5, but it's generally getting to the point where sometimes they're indistinguishable when I'm using them in certain work. With the introduction of Apple Log 2 came so much more flexibility in post, like genuinely crazy amount of color. I am not a colorist by any means. I don't brand myself as a colorist. I think I do decent color, but the reason this phone is so important to me, the reason why I use it as a cinema camera, is because it's genuinely inspiring. Through the colors, through Apple Log 2, I've been able to push my images so much more further than my iPhone 15 Pro when I had it. Don't get me wrong, the iPhone 15 Pro was still a great camera too. It had a great camera, had a great sensor, but when I got the iPhone 17 Pro, I was genuinely inspired to go out and film more things than I would have without it. And I think that's the point of cameras, is you want a camera that can push you to shoot more, to make more content, to create. And that's exactly what my iPhone does. When I go travel to places, I genuinely hate bringing cameras. If it's for a job, of course, that's my livelihood. That's how I make my money. I know a lot of people are the opposite, where they're just like, I want to take my camera everywhere. It's attached to my hip at all times. That's cool. And for the longest time, I was like that too. And in some scenarios, I still am. But for example, back in 2024, I did go to Italy, and I went there to work. So I did have my cameras, but I had a little bit of off time. I was working a lot on that trip, so the moments where we could kind of escape and go do our own thing and look around the cities, kind of go sightseeing, I didn't want to carry my camera. And that's where my iPhone 15 came in. Again, this is 2 years ago. And that's where I really fell in love with phone videography and phone cinematography. I'm starting to get more and more confident that when I go on trips or when I do things that I just want to be in the moment for, that all I need is my iPhone. They really did jam pack the iPhone 17 Pro with a lot of features. Kind of circling back to the open gate part, for those of you who don't know what open gate is, it's the utilization of your full sensor. And what that means is in a lot of cameras, you'll notice that it's always a 16:9 ratio because they're not utilizing the top and bottom of your sensor. I know there's a lot of science to why they don't do that. I think it's a lot of hoopla, but more and more cameras in the big 26 are coming out with open gate, and I'm so glad that Apple kind of followed the trend. Now, when the iPhone first came out though, the only way you could utilize that is by shooting with a external recorder. But this is where Blackmagic and the apps I use really come in clutch. Blackmagic is probably the most best app you can use if you want to bring out the most from your iPhone. It allows you to change your shutter speed, your ISO, it allows you to change your frame rate. It's truly way more intuitive than the Apple camera app that comes with the phone. They really need to upgrade that because that is just atrocious. But I get it's more for like consumer friendly, so I can't really complain. But the reason I'm bringing up Blackmagic is because it really came to the rescue when you could only use OpenGate with an external recorder. They made it so that you could use it in a lower resolution with just the normal Blackmagic app. But I did come to find out that it's only in 1080 and it doesn't tell you that. So I've been shooting in a lot of OpenGate resolutions thinking it was 4K, but it was actually 1080. I did notice something fuzzy when I went to San Diego with my girlfriend and I realized I could shoot OpenGate without an external recorder, and I started shooting it for most of the trip. And then when I threw it back into DaVinci, I didn't notice it looked lower resolution, but I just figured I shot something wrong. Come to find out, without the external recorder, you cannot shoot 4K OpenGate, and that is such a bummer. But 1080 is still good. From now on, I am just gonna shoot in the normal non-OpenGate mode because I do like 4K, and if I need to repurpose it for vertical, I would just crop in. But that's not a deal breaker. I just like nitpicking sometimes because that's just who I am. So I'm sorry. Okay, smooth transition into the gear I use with my iPhone because I didn't know how to transition that. So first off, the case I use is from Moment. It's their green little filter case. And the reason I say filter case is you can snap on one of their 2 to 7 VNDs. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. I do think they are one of the best VNDs for phones that are low profile. If you want to get the absolute best VNDs, then you can just get an adapter that can allow you to screw on a VND that you already own. But I like to travel light. So again, the Moment VND is super solid. Like I mentioned earlier, you do need an external recorder if you want to do ProRes RAW or OpenGate. And the gear I used for that is the Condor Blue recording module that they made in collaboration with Angelbird. I'm sure you've heard of Angelbird. They are pretty big giants in the storage world. As for Condor Blue, they make some really high quality gear. They also make the cables I use to transfer everything to my computer. For a majority of my memory, when I'm not using ProRes, I just go right into the phone because I did buy a terabyte phone. I know that's not possible for everybody, but that's just what I do. And these are super high speed. They never fail on me. And Condor Blue does offer a lifetime warranty on all their cables. So if it does fail for some reason, it won't. But if it does fail, they will replace it. So shout out to Condor Blue. Shout out Angelbird. You guys made some really cool stuff. I think I've touched on some negatives already about shooting with your phone, but another one is the fact that the 3 lenses on the back of the camera aren't the same quality. Now, the main camera is the 24mm camera, which I love using. It's the 48 megapixel photo camera as well, and it gives you such a nice and clear image. But when you switch over to the 48mm, which is the long range, and the 13mm, which is the super wide, you do see a lot less resolution from those. Maybe again, I'm just nitpicking because I can see the difference. I think in daylight you won't care much, but the fact is this is still a phone, so you kind of need all the resolution you can get in low light scenarios because shooting nighttime sometimes is a pain if I'm using the 48mm camera or the 13mm camera. So for nighttime, I do tend to stick with the 24mm camera. And real quick, to touch on that 24mm camera again, like I said, it is a 48 megapixel camera, which is so awesome to have for photos. The iPhone can shoot raw photos And it is a blast to actually edit them in like mobile Lightroom and then post them day of. I have a lot of presets already made for Lightroom, so it's a super quick turnaround. If you guys are actually interested in the presets, let me know. I'm not really in this to sell stuff, but maybe I can just put it on like a Google Doc or something. But yeah, let me know. I wrote down a couple final thoughts because again, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I want to go to bed. If you're an iPhone user, don't think about it, just go and shoot. I promise you will be super excited with the images you get out of your iPhone when you're shooting in log and with the Blackmagic app. I think they've made it super accessible to be a filmmaker in today's time. And I think there's no more excuses, just go out and create. And the iPhone is a great way to do that. Also, a big reason why I made this video is because I know the iPhone 18 is just around the corner and I don't know if I'm going to upgrade. I'm one of those guys that tends to upgrade every 2 to 3 years. And if it's something like way crazier than Apple Log 2, ProRes RAW, and OpenGate, then you know what? Yeah, maybe sign me up. But if it's just going to be some pretty lackluster updates, then I'm going to be rocking this for many more years to come. I don't know if this makes sense, but again, this didn't replace my camera. It replaced the moments where I wouldn't have brought my camera. Does that make sense? Or is that just gibberish? I guess what I'm trying to say is that there were moments where I would just leave my camera and not even take anything with me and miss out on moments I could have recorded, I could have snapped, but didn't because I left my camera at home. So I'm really glad that they made something that I can bring anywhere I go, that I'm already going to bring everywhere I go because it's my phone and it can capture such high quality moments. For the record, I don't belong to any company, so I'm not saying go buy an iPhone. I'm just saying how I use my iPhone for the last 10 months as a cinema camera. And I think that's all I have. So if you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I'm always interested in starting conversations. So please talk to me about what you have in your camera kit, what you use for technology. I'm always interested in hearing all that stuff. I still don't have an outro. So my name is Evan Sanchez. I will catch you guys in the next one. And that's all I got.